The date is October 23, 1944. The place, the Formosa Strait. It's midnight, and the black water churns under a stiffening wind. A lone shadow slices through the waves, a thin wake of phosphorescence curling from its bow. This is the USS Tang, an American submarine deep in enemy territory, and a hunter about to find its prey. Inside the red-lit confines of the control room, the air is thick with the smell of diesel, hot oil, and the sharp tang of men's sweat. The only sound is the steady ping of the SJ radar, painting a picture of the world outside. And what a picture it is! A series of blips materializes on the screen, growing clearer with each sweep of the antenna. A chain of them, organized, moving with purpose. It's a convoy, a big one. Columns of transports and tankers, lifeblood for a desperate empire, shielded by the dark shapes of their escorts. On the bridge, Commander Richard H. O'Kane stares into the darkness, his face a mask of concentration. The wind whips his words away as he gives the order to dive, but inside the steel hull, his voice is calm, clear, and carries the weight of command. Down scope. The klaxon blares once, and the deck plates tilt as Tang slips beneath the waves. The mood inside shifts, a brittle quiet settling over the crew. These men are veterans. They know a single mistake, a single moment of hesitation means a swift, silent end in the crushing deep. O'Kane is a product of the most ruthless school of submarine warfare. He learned his craft under the legendary Dudley Mush Morton aboard the USS Wahoo, a commander who rewrote the book on aggression. O'Kane absorbed those lessons, refined them, and forged a doctrine of his own. Lightning-fast night surface attacks, executed at point-blank range. No warning, no escape. By late 1944, the Pacific War has entered its endgame. Japan's sprawling empire is a starving beast, its survival dependent on fragile sea lanes. And strangling those sea lanes is the U.S. submarine force. Though they make up less than 2% of the entire Navy, these silent service boats are inflicting catastrophic losses. In response, Japanese convoys have become fortresses. Their escorts are more numerous, their crews jumpy, their orders simple and brutal: ram any submarine on sight. The days of casual hunting are long gone. This is a knife fight in the dark. And the USS Tang is the razor's edge of that fight. A Balao-class submarine, she's fast, with a low silhouette that makes her nearly invisible on a dark night. Her belly is full of torpedoes, mostly the new Mark 18 electrics. These are a game changer. Unlike the older steam-powered models, they leave no telltale wake of bubbles to betray their path. Most importantly, her crew is a finely honed instrument, drilled to execute O'Kane's daring tactics with split-second precision. Back in the conning tower, the target data flows in a steady stream of whispers. Range, bearing, speed. The men at the torpedo data computer, the TDC spin its wheels, their hands a blur of practiced motion. This mechanical brain is calculating the precise firing solution, factoring in the speed of the Tang, the speed of the targets, and the angle of attack. The fruit machine, they call it, and tonight it's about to pay out a jackpot. Another commander might be tempted to pick off a straggler, to nibble at the edges of the convoy and slip away. But that's not Richard O'Kane. He sees the neat columns, the screen of destroyers, and makes a decision that is as odd. The torpedoes are in the water. 30 seconds to impact. The sonarman's voice is steady, but the air in the control room is thick enough to chew. 20 seconds. We're on the surface, right in the middle of them. A madman's gamble, but O'Kane is no madman. He's a predator. 10 seconds. Everyone braces. Through the periscope, the black silhouette of a freighter looms, oblivious. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Impact. A flash of brilliant orange lights up the night, and for a split second, we see the freighter lift clean out of the water. The sound hits us a moment later, a deep, gut-punching hump that vibrates through the Tang's hull. Before the first ship even starts to settle, a second explosion rips through the convoy. Another hit. This time, the freighter's spine cracks, buckling in the middle like a broken toy. The whole ocean seems to erupt. Chaos. That's the only word for it. Klaxons start screaming across the water, a chorus of mechanical panic. Searchlights slash wildly through the darkness, desperate to find the phantom that just tore their formation apart. Star shells burst overhead, casting an eerie, flickering twilight over the scene. We can see the escorts, their engines roaring to life, churning the water as they gun it towards our last known position. They're hunting us, but they can't find what they can't see. Hard right rudder. All ahead full. O'Kane's voice cuts through the noise, sharp and decisive. The deck tilts as Tang heels over, the electric motors whining as they push us to our surface speed limit. A massive bow wave from a swerving merchant ship towers over us, so close we can feel the spray. We slide past it, a ghost in the confusion. A mast whips by our conning tower, close enough for the lookouts to flinch. They could have reached out and touched it. This is O'Kane's genius. Inside the convoy, on the surface, we're a needle in a haystack of panic. The destroyers are hesitant to use their main guns for fear of hitting their own ships, and their depth charges are useless against a target that isn't submerged. Their guns can't even depress low enough to get a bead on our low profile. We use their chaos against them. Shift targets! Swing to stern. Stand by aft tubes. The executive officer relays the command, his voice a calm anchor in the storm. As the bow torpedo room crew scrambles to reload, we present our tail to a new target, a fat oil tanker. The torpedomen work in a furious, practiced rhythm, their gloved hands wrestling the heavy, cold steel of the fish into the tubes. You can hear the radar operator calling out ranges, his voice tight, just a tremor away from breaking. Match bearings and shoot, the XO confirms. Tracers from a nervous gun crew walk across the water, stitching a line of fire just off our port side. Too late. Fire 5, fire 6. More torpedoes hiss away into the darkness, another deadly spread sent on its way. We don't even wait for the impact. Hard left rudder, bring the bow around. O'Kane is already lining up the next shot, using Tang's speed and agility to weave between the columns of scattering ships. We're a wolf among panicked sheep. We could break off now, slip away into the night with a stunning victory under our belts. But that's not O'Kane. That's not the Tang. He's turning us back in. Back into the heart of the fire. The forward tubes are ready again. Fire 1, fire 2. Another pair of torpedoes race towards a transport. We see the hit. The transport's bow shears clean off, sliding into the sea as the rest of the ship lurches forward. Men spill from its decks like ants, tiny figures swallowed by the oil-slicked black water. An escort's searchlight suddenly pins us. The storm is now their shield. Inside the USS Tang, the world has shrunk to the cramped confines of the conning tower. The concussion of friendly gunfire thumps against the hull like a giant's heartbeat, each blast a physical shock. On the steel deck, empty brass shell casings clatter and roll with the violent pitch of the sea, a metallic rain accompanying the real one. The air is thick, a foul cocktail of burnt cordite, diesel fumes, and the sharp, coppery tang of sweat and adrenaline. Every man is a coiled spring of focus, their world reduced to dials, orders, and the enemy silhouettes that flicker in the storm. Suddenly, a brilliant white spear of light cuts through the chaos. A Japanese searchlight pins the bridge, freezing them for a heart-stopping second. In that stark, artificial daylight, you can see it all. The spray plastering their hair, the cold wind whipping color into their faces. The helmsman, a boy of no more than 20, wrestling with the wheel, his knuckles white. A wall of steel, an enemy destroyer, looms out of the rain-swept darkness, close enough to touch. Hard to port. Emergency dive. O'Kane's voice is a blade. Tang crashes beneath the waves, the searchlight beam slicing harmlessly over the roiling water where they had been moments before. Down in the green quiet, the war changes its sound. The sea is no longer a hiding place. It's a drum, and the enemy is beating on it. The rhythmic, invasive asterisk ping. Ping, ping asterisk of active sonar bounces off the hull, a sonic finger pointing them out in the dark. The crew freezes, every man holding his breath. Then comes a deeper, more terrifying sound. The rolling, tumbling rumble of depth charges, like cosmic bowling balls dropped from above, searching for them. They explode, not close enough to kill, but close enough to rattle teeth and knock men from their feet. And then, the worst sound of all, the high-pitched, corkscrew howl of propellers directly overhead. A destroyer is passing right over them, its screws churning the water into a vortex of death. They are trapped, hunted, and utterly blind. But O'Kane isn't hiding. He's reloading. Surface! Back into the tempest they rise. Through the periscope, a lookout's face goes slack. He sees them, survivors from a stricken freighter, clinging to shattered planks, their faint cries for help swallowed by the gale. His eyes meet O'Kane's, a question hanging between them, but there's no time for mercy. Another target, a massive transport ship, looms dead ahead. The lookout pushes the image of the drowning men down, locks it away, and calls out the new bearing. O'Kane's voice remains a level, dispassionate metronome of destruction. Target bearing 015. Range 2,000 yards. We are here to end this convoy. They are inside the convoy now, a wolf and a scattered, terrified flock. They're weaving between burning wrecks and columns of spray. An escort, a Japanese destroyer, spots them and turns, charging head-on in a desperate attempt to ram. There's no time to dive. Bow tubes, fire! O'Kane orders, a down-the-throat shot, the most dangerous gamble a submariner can make. The bridge team watches, breathless, as the silver wake of the torpedo lances through the black water. The escort is a charging bull, growing larger by the second. Then, a silent flash, followed by a colossal geyser of water and fire that obliterates the ship. It simply vanishes, swallowed by the sea it was meant to protect. The night wears on, a blur of fire, shouting, and steel. In the space of a few hours, a single submarine has shattered an entire formation. Multiple ships are afire, sinking or dead in the water, their death throes painting the stormy sky in flickering shades of orange and red. But victory has a cost. Exhaustion is a cancer in the crew. The torpedoman's hands are cramped into claws from manhandling the heavy fish into their tubes. The coffee is long gone, the mugs cold and forgotten. Every man's eyes are sanded raw, burning from salt spray and lack of sleep. A knot forms in O'Kane's stomach as the report comes in. Captain, we have 2 torpedoes remaining. Aft tubes only. Just two left. Out in the chaos, the biggest prize of all, a massive transport, still limps along the horizon, wounded but afloat. Inside the USS Tang, the world has shrunk to the size of the control room, thick with the smell of sweat, ozone, and adrenaline. Commander O'Kane, pressed against the periscope, is a statue carved from pure focus. They've been on a rampage all night, a ghost weaving through the convoy, leaving a trail of fire and ruin. But now they're down to the wire. Just 2 torpedoes left, 2 chances to finish the job. The sonar operator's voice is a low, steady hum calling out bearings. A shadow detaches from the greater darkness, a transport, fat and slow, right where O'Kane predicted. He doesn't raise his voice, doesn't need to. The crew moves with the instinct of a single organism. Stand by tube 7. The order is almost a whisper, but it cuts through the tension like a razor. The transport looms, filling the crosshairs. It's so close they can practically feel the thrum of its engines through their own hull. O'Kane's calculations are lightning fast, a blend of trigonometry, instinct, and a deep, personal understanding of the sea. Fire 7. A violent hiss. A shudder that runs through the deck plates. The torpedo is away. For a heartbeat, there's only the rhythmic ping of the sonar. Then the night outside the steel hull is ripped open. A flash of incandescent orange boils up from the black water, so bright it feels like it should sear their eyes even through solid steel. The transport splits apart, a can opener tearing through tin, the death cry of tortured metal reaching them a moment later. A direct hit, 1 torpedo left, number 24. The last fish in the boat. The convoy is scattered, burning, but 1 ship remains a straggler, trying to flee into the darkness. It's a long shot, a difficult angle. O'Kane stays glued to the periscope, his body swaying with the motion of the sea as he tracks the target. All ahead 1/3. Bring her to course 350. The Tang pivots gracefully, a predator lining up its final strike. The crew is silent, a collective held breath. They've seen O'Kane do the impossible all night. They trust him. He's not just their captain, he's their faith. The angle on the bow is sliding into the perfect firing solution. It's a shot that requires more than just math. It demands an almost spiritual connection between man, machine, and the physics of the ocean. Stand by tube 8. The finality of the command hangs in the air. Range mark, bearing, mark, speed mark. The data flows, feeding the complex mechanical brain of the torpedo data computer. The solution is locked. Every man in the control room is living in this single moment, their universe contained within the clicking gears and glowing dials. O'Kane's voice is calm, almost serene. Fire 8. The last torpedo, a Mark 18 electric, slides from its tube with a gentle push. There is no telltale wake of compressed air to follow, just an invisible promise streaking through the dark water. The seconds stretch, pulling taut like a rubber band. 1,000. 2,000. The crew counts silently, their minds tracing the unseen path of their last weapon. The sonar operator listens intently, his brow furrowed, straining to hear the welcome sound of impact. But instead of an explosion, a different sound comes. A subtle change in the Doppler ping of their own torpedo. It's a shift in pitch that makes the hair on your arms stand up. The sonarman's head snaps up, his eyes wide. He listens again, disbelieving. Then a whisper, choked with a horror that no submariner ever wants to contemplate. "Captain, I think it's a circular run." The words land like a physical blow. A circular run. The torpedo, their own weapon, is malfunctioning. It's turning back. On them. O'Kane yanks his eye from the scope. His voice cracks like a whip, shattering the stunned silence. "All back emergency!" "Rudder hard right." The engine order telegraph clangs violently. The whole boat shudders as the props bite into the water, fighting to reverse their momentum. But there's nowhere to go. They're trapped. Hemmed in by the burning carcasses of their own success, a forest of sinking steel hulls. Diving is suicide. Running is impossible. On the bridge, a lookout, straining his eyes against the fiery chaos, screams into the voice tube. The torpedo hit like a fist. The stern of the USS Tang crumpled, lights flickered and died, and the cold Pacific flooded in. Darkness and chaos. Men shouted, "Blow mains!" Valves hammered shut. The world tilted violently as they groped through corridors rapidly filling with water. The Tang, their hunter, their home was sinking fast, stern first, coming to rest on the ocean floor, a steel coffin in the making. But for a handful of men, the fight wasn't over. Commander Richard O'Kane and a small group battled their way to the escape trunk. Clasping their mumps and lungs, a desperate last chance, they began the agonizing ascent. Lungs burned, eardrums screamed from the pressure, their bodies clawing toward a surface they might never see. One by one, they fought their way up through the dark, unforgiving water. They broke the surface into a hellscape. The night was lit by fire. The convoy they had just decimated was burning all around them. Survivors, both American and Japanese, bobbed in the oily, smoke-choked swells. In a stunning twist of fate, the very Japanese escort ships they had been hunting, scorched and stunned themselves, began pulling men from the water. First their own, and then the Americans from the Tang. The paradox of that night is staggering. In a single furious engagement, the USS Tang had shattered an enemy convoy, only to be destroyed by its own final malfunctioning torpedo. The ledger is brutal and clear. The Tang was credited with sinking 5 enemy ships, a stunning victory. But of her crew of over 80 men, only 9 survived to be taken as prisoners of war. Commander O'Kane would endure the horrors of a POW camp and live to receive the Medal of Honor, his name forever etched in history as one of the most effective submarine commanders of the war. The story of the Tang isn't just about one submarine. It's a window into the relentless and brutal U.S. submarine campaign that slowly strangled Japan's war economy. Feats like the Tang's were the cutting edge of a war fought in darkness and steel, deep beneath the waves. But when we strip away the machinery and the tactics, we're left with the faces. The faces of the men who didn't come back. The faces of those who did, forever changed. And even the faces of the Japanese sailors they fought, and in a strange turn of events, were saved by in the same hour. It's a powerful reminder of a simple human truth. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to take the harder line right through the heart of danger, knowing you might have to pay the ultimate price. There are so many more incredible